Saturday morning.
Kyron Lacy's wide receiver 1.
Really?
He has taken that role over. Like just watching him just from last spring and kind of his first spring at LSU, you could tell sometimes like concentration was like a problem for him. Like he just have drops, and then he have like it spill over to drills. Like he dropped the ball in a team drill, and then they go back to individual, and he's dropping every ball. But now it's like it's consistency every day. Like it's catching the ball, running the right routes, like doing everything, all the little things right. And you could tell like he's confident in it. Like he's confident in himself and in his ability, because he does have the ability to be a wide receiver 1 type player. He's been behind Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
So if he's 1, who's 2?
Chris Hilton. Chris Hilton is your unquestionable number 2 receiver right now.
I like to hear that.
Yeah. I think they're still trying to develop that third receiver role. Like you got Aaron Anderson, you got Xavier Thomas, then you got C.J. Daniels, a transfer, which I don't know how that would work in terms of how they would line up if they would go C.J. Daniels with Kyron Lacy and Chris Hilton. I guess they would just move Hilton to the slot. But I think that they have, like, once we go to the Brian Kelly, because he says it, like they have 7-8 guys that they know they could go to. So it'll be more of a team effort at receiver this year than just like 1-2 guys that's just taking all the receptions.
Chili wants to know, ask Stewie, is it true what they're saying about Deshaun McBride?
Yes, Deshaun McBride is, first of all, physically impressive. Like if you walk out there and you just look at the safety group, you want to know who's 10. Like who is 10? He looks like, to me, I compare him to Kyle Hamilton.
Wow.
Like that's the comp
safety
I
in the
have
league.
for him. I'm not saying he is Kyle Hamilton, but size-wise, just watching his tape, like his ball skills, like everything, he has the same skill set that Kyle Hamilton offers for the Ravens. Probably a little more athletic too, and that's saying a lot.
How was Nussmeier?
Nussmeier looked good. The wind was blowing kind of in, so some of his balls were a little underthrown, but I mean, one of the balls he underthrew Kyron Lacy made up for it.
Really?
Yeah, he took it off of the top of Jordan Gilbert's head, and the more impressive thing about that play was the fact that he high pointed the ball, broke the tackle, and scored a touchdown. Like it wasn't just him catching the ball, falling. It was like catch the ball, make a play. And that's one thing I think Kyron Lacy, he's shown in the past, but I think he'll show it more consistently this season.
Not anymore, but any transfers standing out? Who's back there? Jordan Gilbert?
Jordan Gilbert is standing out. He's a starter. I mean, plug and play. I mean, he's been a 3-year starter at A&M.
So the safety room's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, the safety room has been probably the most impressive group to me in the spring.
Sage Ryan's name keeps popping up. What did he do Saturday?
3 interceptions. And I think the move back to safety it shows that he's way more comfortable playing safety. Like you could tell, the past couple of years they've been trying to move him around, keep him on the field, which shows a lot about how much they trust him. But his cornerback's not his spot. He's not a nickel either, but he's a safety. Like he is a true safety. If you go back and watch his LCA tape, he played safety and he played offense. And now he's back in that comfortable safety position and he's making plays. Like he caught an interception off Nussmeier on an underthrow, and then he caught a pick six. And then he caught an interception off a tip from Jacoby and Guillory. So he's always around the ball. He knows where he's supposed to be. He's a leader. Like you could tell he understands, like it's his time.
What about defensively?
Like just defensively, like structurally
anybody
altogether?
stand out? Like, I mean, anything stand out from new face? I mean, like there's a lot of film on Bo Davis coming out. There's a lot of stuff on Perkins coming out.
You could just kind of tell like this defense will be better. Like I have no doubt in my mind that this defense will be probably light years ahead of what you saw last season. Just with the new faces, like just with the new coaches, you could tell that these coaches are on these guys and trying to hone in on the little things and making sure that they understand. Like it's not just go out there and run this scheme. Like they're making sure they understand exactly what they're asking them to do to a T. Like if they don't understand the drill, they redo it. And then after the drill, if they still don't get it, the coach is breaking it down to them, letting them know what they need to be doing. And when they're in team drills, like they're still going over technique stuff. And it's a breath of fresh air, honestly. Like you could really see like the defense is turning the corner because you would think the offense would be ahead of them, but they were making stops Saturday. Like when they went team and they went good on good, it was good on good.
Who's getting the backup quarterback reps?
Ricky Collins.
Really?
Yeah. That backup quarterback job
that's a good competition,
right? And
I mean, AJ Swan's got starting experience in the league.
Yeah, I mean, at one point he was like he had the record for the most passes thrown without an interception. I think it was him at Vanderbilt. But I mean, Brian Kelly talked about it in his presser. He talked about how the QB2 battle is like probably one of the more important battles on the team right now. That and right tackle, the backup right tackle.
Really?
Because you got Tyree Adams, who they love, and Bo Borderline, who they love, and they both split reps at right tackle Saturday with Emory Jones being out. I'm thinking that this is just a kind of like Brian Kelly alluded to again in the presser, like you know what you're getting from Emory Jones and Will Campbell.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We kind of want to
I
see
support giving them the kind of like a couple of days off,
right? And I think that's what they've been doing with Emory Jones. I think Will Campbell's more of like I'm not taking a day off, right? So, I mean, Tyree Adams and Bo Borderline been splitting those reps at right tackle, and they both look. I mean, it's no drop off.
I know. I saw some film of Borderline. They love Borderline.
Yeah.
I mean, and his younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to some of these Kelly bites. Here we go, Stewie. Let's just run down the list here of Brian Kelly on Saturday. Good job by Stewie and his production team putting this together. Here he is talking about the competitive nature of the early parts of practice.
You guys didn't have Yale and Duquesne? You had Duquesne? Of course you did. How about you had Yale too?
I did not.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon, though.
You had Grand Canyon? You guys know what you're talking about. You guys want to talk about football?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's talk football.
Get back.
Today was a busy day for us. Obviously, we had a number of different opportunities for us to go against each other. I thought our guys did a really good job of, controlling, what they could control out there. I mean, you're competing against each other for, in the instance, I think today that the way it was scripted, almost 45 minutes of, competitive work. I thought our guys really showed, really good emotional control and maturity in the way they competed today. So I was really pleased with that from a practice standpoint. And we got a lot of work done. So the evaluation process for us will be really good. I mean, we'll have really good film to watch, to evaluate. Allows us now to almost halfway done, really begin to, look at, where we have to strengthen ourselves, the developmental issues that we need to continue to work towards and be a more complete football team. So today was a really good day from that perspective. I think the identity is starting to kind of show itself. I think, this is going to be much more that the sum is going to be greater than any one of the parts of this team, which is great. I think that there's going to be a lot of players that will play and take an important role in the team, but we're going to need everybody. And so days like today, as a head coach, you get an opportunity to kind of really good sense of where your team is, and I think that that's what happened today. So those are my opening comments, and take questions.
More from Kelly here, rolling on in that press conference yesterday, talking a little bit about what he sees from the star position.
Spring.
So the star gives you a lot more, I would say, versatility within your defensive structure. A guy that can play man coverage, a guy that can blitz, a guy that can play zone coverage, a really good tackler, athletic in space, but also, a guy that's rugged enough that, if you put a tight end, he can handle himself at the line of scrimmage. If you're going to get into, two tight ends, you could move the star off the field and add another linebacker, to the mix. But, we felt like, Major, really fit that mold in terms of the star. He's closer to the football, and he has those skills that we were looking for. Sage obviously is a guy that we moved around all over trying to find a spot for him. He's got speed, he's got athleticism. Obviously, that was a position that needed some depth, and he provides obviously that experience that was lacking at that position.
Chris Hilton's having a really good spring. Here's Brian Kelly talking about his fourth year wide receiver out of Zachary.
Fourth.
Wow.
I think, the way that I would describe it is that, those guys, when guys move on, it kind of thrusts you into, that position of need, leadership, whatever words you want to call. And he now knows that the mantle has been passed to him, and it's his time. And I think he's really done an outstanding job of, being the next wide receiver up at LSU. He's had a really good spring. He's been, and I think I would evaluate him as somebody that has been consistent. Every day he's gone out there and practiced at a high level, and he's developed a consistency at that position that I think at times maybe you could argue that he was, lacked consistency, whether he was hurt or whether he would drop a ball. We haven't seen any of that, and good for him.
More from Kelly speaking yesterday with the media, following LSU's opening Saturday practice of spring football. Here he is talking about Deshaun Womack, second-year player, expecting big things out of Womack.
What number?
This is 4.
Want to do with your defense this year?
Well, again, I think, the maturity level of Deshaun Womack, the health of Deshaun Womack. Remember now, he was, he wasn't part of spring and then, had shoulder surgery and was coming off of shoulder surgery. And I just think in the weight room, physically developing, having a year to kind of understand what it takes to be in college has put him in a really good position. He's got a chance to be an elite pass rusher. Certainly we've seen what Braden Swinson can do as a pass rusher. Both of those guys, we believe, can be top players at the edge position in the SEC. And, clearly we're moving big ends around as well. Savion is doing a great job, but he's not necessarily an edge as much as he's playing a little bit of a 4 technique, so he's a B-gap player, but he's got great flexibility for us. He's long, he's athletic, and he can also play inside, so it gives us great flexibility when you have a guy like
It will be a long time. It has been, I don't know, I can't think of the last time that LSU has been in a position where they sit right now, with the offensive line that they have. I was too young when guys like Ralph Norwood, rest in peace, Eric Andolsek, rest in peace, I believe were on the same offensive line. Those were two high-end first-round guys. Alan Faneca and Kevin Mawai obviously were Hall of Famers, NFL Hall of Famers. Todd McClure was an incredible offensive lineman. He and Faneca were on the same line of scrimmage together. I mean, that was, when you look back on it, that's one that is, wow, you had two guys that played long time in the NFL. McClure's in the Ring of Honor with the Falcons. Faneca's in the Hall of Fame. Emory Jones and Will Campbell being on the same offensive line for 3 years heading into this season feels like a luxury that you may not have again for a minute. Like kind of like the Skeens feel last year. I mean, having that type of guy that every time he goes out, I mean, you can chalk it up. Will Campbell and Emory Jones, the luxury of having these two guys on the same team, on the same line of scrimmage for the third year in a row. Man, you just pray and hope these guys can stay at the elite status of health so they can get the most out what is expected to be, their best year of college football, and they've been dominant. I mean, they have been as advertised. I mean, they are LeBron and Tiger Woods. They came in with so much hype, and they outlived it. They were bigger than it. They were better than it, right? I mean, for as much as we hyped up Emory Jones and Will Campbell in high school, and I remember, seeing Campbell for the first time and watching Emory Jones play basketball and realizing that's the guy from the football field. They're like, yeah, that's the tackle. You're like, no way. And seeing like, oh my God, I mean, this is Glenn Davis, big baby with some aggression. And then, both those guys getting to campus and being better than we thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be world class. I thought they were going to be All-Americans. I thought they were going to be the best. And they've been better than that. I mean, like, really, they've been better than I thought that they were going to be, and I thought they were going to be great. But, I mean, Campbell wears number 7, and Emory Jones was he SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week 3 times last year, I think?
I think so.
I mean, I don't – they're awesome. Here's Kelly talking about having those guys on the team and what type of luxury it is for a head coach.
Season.
Yeah, so I think this is the year that we really put a lot more emphasis on them to be involved in our offensive structure in terms of schemes. No longer is this about just, we got 2 really good young tackles. We want to be able to take advantage of, their actual ability in the schemes. And you probably saw us moving them a lot more, pulling them, getting them involved in our offensive structure a lot more. And so I think in year 3, knowing that we have, 2 outstanding tackles, let's get them involved in our run scheme. And so there's been a lot more pin and pull, a lot more outside zone, and that's to feature both of those guys in particular.
Hell yes. I mean, when's the last time LSU had a pull and tackle? Was that Whitworth, maybe?
Gerald Hawkins. They were pulling tackles with less. But that's, toss dive offense.
I mean, can you imagine what Emory Jones or Will Campbell's going to look like?
I wouldn't want to be a corner or a safety.
Blocking for Caleb Jackson?
I wouldn't want to be a corner or a safety at all.
Man.
Moving out the way.
I'm as excited to watch Emory Jones and Will Campbell this season as I have been to watch anybody over the last 5 to 10 years. I can't wait to watch how good they are.
And I like Emory Jones to me in the open field is like Trent Williams. Just like a big.
Get on my back, Christian McCaffrey.
A big athletic.
Run with me.
A dancing bear.
That's it.
Is what they call him.
Grizzly bear.
And he will maul you.
Defensive backfield, obviously an area of concern for LSU. Here's Brian Kelly speaking about that position group on Saturday.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of good young players there that, are playing better and better. But, I think the guys that played for us last year are improving as well. Toviano, Stamps, I think that they're improving at the level that is necessary for us. You mentioned a couple of the freshmen. I just think there's a lot of good young talent. They're being coached. I think Coach Owen's doing a great job with the safeties. I think that they're very active and very much involved in what's going on. Jordan Gilbert gives us a veteran player back there. So I think there's a nice collection of some veteran players, some younger players. Same thing at the cornerback position. I think it's just a natural selection of younger players and some guys with some experience that we finally have. As I said, I think the sum is going to be, much more about what this team is than any one individual. I don't know that there's going to be one corner. I think it's going to be 2 or 3 corners at a particular position. I don't know there's going to be one safety. I think it's going to be 2 or 3. So I think you're going to just see a lot of guys that are going to be competing and helping us instead of, well, there's just one star at one position, one superstar. And I think that's a good thing.
So there's Brian Kelly speaking about the defensive backfield room as LSU starting to see the development of a lot of those guys we talked about last season, like the Stamps and Toviano, who were coming in and playing.
That's your starting corners right now.
Really?
Yep. And, I mean, it seems like that's what LSU is going to roll with currently. J.K. Johnson has been limited. That's a guy we kind of talked to some people about
Is
last
he still
year.
Hurt?
I don't know if he's still hurt. It's just kind of
playing
like
it safe.
Yeah, just bringing him back slow because I think he got the same injury in spring last season. So,
Yeah, he did. Early.
You're right. So I think they're just taking it slow with him. But you could really see like he said, it's not going to be just one or two guys. Like it might be 2 to 4, honestly. Like especially at cornerback.
Yeah.
Like I think you could kind of see Corey Raymond forming that relationship with a couple guys, like kind of coaching them hard and teaching them how life in the SEC is going to be, like a PJ Woodland. Like I stay really close to the defensive backs because I'm really interested to see where that group is going to go, and just spending a lot of time around them, like with the few media availabilities we've had, you could just see how much Corey Raymond has taken on, like, developing PJ Woodland. Like he'll make him go 3 or 4 times in a drill. Like Saturday, PJ Woodland, he had like a technical issue. Like he did something wrong technically on a route right after Corey Raymond had just kind of coached him up on something. And he turns around and looks at Raymond, and Raymond's just like, you know what, just start running. And it's just like you kind of see them forming that relationship of like, I love you, but I'm going to coach you hard.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you great. And you're probably going to be great because of the way I coach you.
This is the last bite, Stewie. This is Coach Brian Kelly talking about Kyron Lacy.
I think, Kyron had, times where, he could get distracted a little bit. I just think a single-minded focus, in terms of doing his job every single day. It was not physical in any way. I think he's extremely gifted as a football player. But I think the elite players, have such a single-minded focus in terms of what they do and how they do it, that when they hit that practice field, it's all business. And I've seen a big change in the way he approaches practice. It's so different than when it was last year. I think he was the third man, and he's not that. He's the guy, and he handles himself that way. Thank you.
All right, good stuff from Brian Kelly.
It's a little Greg Brooks update,
I
too.
mean, we haven't gotten much information over the last month because of where he is. We know he's in intensive daily rehabilitation. He's up, walking, doing all those things, doing all of the occupational rehabilitation. It's just a slow process. But everything is coming back. It's just a slow process. Yep.
Good stuff there from Brian Kelly. Appreciate him for updating on Saturday, and for Stewie for cutting that up. We had somebody inside the chat who brought to our attention another impressive performance. This was Fearless Led Doctor 7. Did y'all see Jelani Watkins, Caden Durham running this relay this past weekend for Duncanville? And as we said, this Duncanville relay team, which consists of Decorian Moore as the third leg, Caden Durham is the
I think he might be the anchor.
Is the anchor. And then you've got Jelani Watkins as well out there. Has been incredible to watch. Now, as I'm reading this, I see that Duncanville is going up against a different school who's like shattered this 4x1 relay record, and they're about to square off. Like they're about to run against each other.
Is that not
coming up in May at the University of Texas? Is expected to be the highly anticipated. Is it Anastasia?
Yeah, that's the school Jelani Watkins goes to.
Okay. and Duncanville are competing against
Coach.
each other for the top honors.
Well, I'm pulling up the video, but I mean, it's him and Caden Durham as the anchors. And
Caden Durham and Jelani Watkins?
Yes, and it is. Talk about speed.
Are we going to be able to see this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And they this is actually like broadcast. Like they're
Oh, yeah,
announcing the names and everything. Like, hold up, I got the sound. I got.
Where are we? Who's in what? Duncanville is in white?
Duncanville is in red.
Red?
Blue and red.
Blue and red. Okay. And this is about to be Durham versus Watkins on the anchor?
DeCorian Moore might be like the second one.
No, it says DeCorian's the third.
That's him handing off to Cade Durham.
And this is Watkins. Look at Jelani Watkins is strong.
I mean, he pulled away.
Oh my goodness! A new national record!
Holy cow.
38-9.
I mean, that is.
Some colleges don't even run that.
DeCorian Moore and Caden Durham are scary fast, and they are. I mean, like they're like 6 feet ahead of. They're 8 feet ahead of him.